Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my 4 best tips for tomorrow's horse racing action. Before we get stuck into that, I quickly just want to apologise for not giving you a video over the last few days. I just haven't been feeling too well, but I've got my voice back again. I'm feeling a lot better and fingers crossed we're over it now, and I'll be doing lots more videos with you guys. But if you weren't aware where I was, I did leave a comment in the comments box below from my last video, and also as well, if you do follow me on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoaders15, you know that I was regularly updating you, so apologies for that. But yeah, hopefully, like I said, it's just a blip and we're back on it, and we've got 4 tips to get stuck into tomorrow's racing. And with the first one tomorrow, we're going to be going with my extra tip, which runs in the 223 at Yarmouth, where I'm going with a horse here called Marrakech Moon for Rab Havlin and John Gosden. Now, we've only seen this horse once so far in a race course, but he ran a really respectable debut to finish in 5th place at Kempton, when pretty much being last out the back inside the last 3 furlongs, and he showed a tremendous turn of foot to fly home and finish in 5th place. He was definitely the horse you wanted to take out of that race. Now, he's a horse in the colours of the Bamfords, and he's by no name never, which means you probably suspect him to handle a bit of cut in the ground. And for those that know and have seen the ground description, at Yarmouth tomorrow, you're going to want horses that will be able to handle the testing conditions. It's currently heavy, soft in places, the ground. So I think, yeah, Marrakech Moon, I think he might be suited by these conditions tomorrow. If you actually look at his pedigree, he's got some soft ground relations in there, and I think he's going to be able to handle this tomorrow. Now, the current favourite is Currency Exchange for William Haggis, but I think he's a vulnerable favourite in this race tomorrow, and I would want to be taking him on. He's going to have to give away the penalty, and also as well, we haven't seen him for a little while, which is a little bit worrying. So that would be a slight concern for me, and I think Marrakech Moon, that was a run that's really screamed to me that he was going to improve next time out. John Gosden as well, we always know that he has a great record at Yarmouth. He often sends a lot of his best juveniles there. And Marrakech Moon for me, at 2 to 1, I think he'll take a step forward tomorrow, and I think he'll be there or thereabouts, come in the winning line, and I think he'll actually go off favourite for this race tomorrow, as long as the market vibes remain strong. So for me, Marrakech Moon, I think he'll step forward from his debut run at Kempton, and for me, he's going to be my extra tip of the day. We then go to the Nap in the 323 at Yarmouth, staying there with a horse called Stallone for Oisin Murphy and Henry Spiller. You can currently back him at 5 to 1 at the moment. Now, I actually put this horse up a few starts ago at Haydock when he was my long shot. I think he was around about 16 to 1 on the day, where he'd been running quite creditably, but he just hadn't been getting his head in front, and he's continued to run in the same vein of form. We last saw him finishing in 3rd place at Leicester last week, where we actually put up Rashik, who finished 2nd in that race. And despite Stallone being quite well fancied that day, I think he still ran a pretty credible race. And the winner from Charlie Fellows was a bit of a gamble, quite an unexposed type that definitely looked ahead of their handicap mark. And I think it was quite a smart race for the grade. But going back to Stallone, he was on the wrong part of the track that day. All the horses that did best and have been doing well on the sprint course at Leicester down that straight have been drawn low. You want to have kind of been in 1, 2 or 3, those kind of stalls. So to come from stall 8 like Stallone did last time out and not be racing on the right part of the track from the beginning suggests to me that I think that run should be marked up. Now, going back to Yarmouth tomorrow, this will definitely suit him. He's a dual course winner on these conditions as well. He won there twice towards the back end of last season on heavy ground, so the conditions are in his favour. He's returning back to one of his favourite courses. He's been running well. He's only £1 higher than his last winning mark, so you like to think that he still might have a bit more to offer. And it's interesting as well that champion jockey Oisin Murphy retains the ride. So at 5 to 1 with Stallone, I think there's a lot to like about his chances tomorrow. Yes, there are maybe 1 or 2 improvers like the Haggis horse that could be the dangers, but I just think Stallone's a bit of a price in this field, and he's got a lot of things in his favour. And for me, I just think he'll be rewarded for his consistency tomorrow, and I think he can get his head back in front. So that's going to be my nap of the day there, Stallone in the 323 at Yarmouth. We then go my long shot, which runs in the 530 at Windsor with a horse called So I Told You for Pat Dobbs and Richard Hughes. Now you can currently back this horse at 8-1, and even though there's 2 places, I'm still going to recommend an each way selection here because I do think this horse is a really big price. Now this horse is actually in the colours of the Miakos family, who you normally associate with some good horses. Obviously a lot of good horses with the likes of Jesse Harrington in recent years, Alpine Star, some other nice fillies as well, Alpha Centauri. So always a family you want to, or a family of owners you want to take note of. But this So I Told You, I think she's definitely the classy filly in the race and has been forgotten in this market. Now, we haven't seen her for a little while when she was contesting in some much better races earlier in the season. She finished a credible 5th, I think, in the Lingfield Oaks trial, which actually wasn't a bad piece of form because the winner of that race, Miss Yoda, went on to win the German Oaks. Also as well, looking at some of her other runs, she ran okay at Royal Ascot, and then we last saw her running in a fairly warm fillies handicap at Newbury, where the conditions and probably the trip just never suited her that day. Now if you go back to her juvenile form, it's quite strong because her first ever run on a racecourse was an effort at Bath when she finished in 2nd place. Now if you go back and look at the race and how it's turned out, you've had the likes of Surrey Pride, who I think went off favourite for the O'Reilly Cup at Newmarket on Friday. You had Vulcan, you had Damage Control, you had Midnight's Legacy, Star of Mamoon, I think it is. There's a lot of horses in there that are rated up to as high as 9 in the mid-90s, and all of the horses that were around her that day are 80 plus horses. So she's got some ability, this filly, and that was taken on the boys as well. Furthermore, she went on to win her next start after that at Nottingham on heavy ground, where she was a really comfortable winner that day. That was over a mile. Now tomorrow she's going to be dropping back in trip to a mile, which is the first time she would have tackled the trip this season. And if you look at the pedigree, especially on the dam side, there should be the hope that she should handle cut, and it's definitely her best surface. Now she's had none of that this season, and I just think the fact that we haven't seen her means that she is quite a big price in the context of this field, and if she can get out in front and get an easy lead, she might be able to use her stamina to good effect, and we know she handles the ground as well. So I think there's a lot of things in her favour tomorrow with this filly. And for me, I'll be disappointed if we don't get a good run for our money. And I expect her to be there or thereabouts come the end of the race. So for me, So I Told You, I think she's a big price in the 540 at Windsor. And for me, I'm going to be putting her up as my long shot of the day. We then go to moving on to my final tip of the day. And we go to my next best, which runs in the 6 o'clock at Wolverhampton with a horse called Anna of Lorraine for Holly Doyle and Sir Michael Stout in the colours of the Cheveley Park stud. Now this horse, you might remember, we put up as a winning nap a couple of weeks ago at Wolverhampton. Now my reasoning was the fact that she'd been running over the wrong trips in her career. I couldn't understand why she'd been running over 7 furlongs up to a mile, when quite clearly in her pedigree she's got a sprinter's pedigree, and she'd shown just that on the course. You know, as a 2-year-old, she showed a lot of speed, and arguably her best run came over 6 furlongs as a juvenile. And then, like I said, we never saw her as a 3-year-old, and then she came back this season. She was obviously well handicapped, or they thought she was well handicapped, because she'd probably been showing them a lot of speed at home. But if you go back, especially a few runs ago at Kempton, when she looked like she was going to win the race, when she was travelling on the bridle over 7 furlongs, pretty much within the last furlong, you think she's got the race sewn up in the bag, and she's just going to be asked for her effort, and she's going to go and quicken away. But she just lacked the turn of speed at that crucial point, and over those distances she doesn't have the pace. However, going to probably 5 or 6 furlongs, that's where she should be at her most effective. And like I said, she's got a strong sprinter's pedigree, and we really saw that last time when Will Buick used it to a good advantage. It was a quick time, the sectionals were really fast, and she made all last time to win at Wolverhampton over 6 furlongs. Now tomorrow she's going to be dropping back even further in trip to 5 furlongs, but I don't think that's a negative move at all. And it's interesting that they've booked Holly Doyle, who's only one winner away, I believe, from breaking that record of the most wins from a female jockey in the UK in a calendar year. So it'd be great if she could do it tomorrow. And you can currently back this horse at 15-8, and I think that's a bit of good value there. Probably the main market danger is the Muir, but off a mark of 70, I think Anna of Lorraine still has a few pounds in the hand of the handicap, you know, and I think we still haven't got to the bottom of her over these kind of distances. So for me, quite sweet in her chances tomorrow, and I think she can give us another win. So for me, that's going to be my final tip of the day, and fingers crossed we can get back on track with some winners. So yeah, we've got 4 tips tomorrow. I'll quickly just run through them all. In the 223 at Yarmouth, we go with Marrakech Moon, 2-1 win only bet. That's the extra tip. In the 323 at Yarmouth, we go with Stallone, 5-1 win only bet. In the 540 at Wolverhampton, we go with So I Told You, 8-1 each way. That's the long shot. And in the 6 o'clock at Wolverhampton and over Lorraine, 15-8 next best win only bet. Fingers crossed she can do the business for us there. So they're the 4 tips for tomorrow. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and it means every time I upload a video you'll get a notification, so make sure you do it if you haven't done so already. Also as well, if you are liking these videos, please remember to give us a thumbs up by hitting the like button, and if you want to follow me on Twitter you can do, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a bit more about myself, check out my website, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.